Plenty of Qatari fans in the stadium in Seattle today. You're listening to World Cup Game Day Live on TalkSport 2, brought to you by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, they are here for it. And for the Qatari team led by Julian Lopetegui, Tony, they've got a long way to come back after what happened against Canada.
Yeah, they did, but they sort of got a little bit of redemption when they played the Swiss, so they'll take a lot of heart out of that. You know, they really wouldn't have been expected to get a draw against the Swiss team, Nigel. So, yeah, opening game, playing hosts in their backyard, and once they got going, and Jonathan David getting a hat-trick, and it felt like everybody in the Canadian team was going to score that day. So, here we are, an opportunity. I'm sure if we'd have said to the Qatar manager, Lopetegui, and everybody else involved, if we can get to the last third game in the group stage and we have to win to qualify, I think they'd have taken it.
Such a big day. Of course, this the start of the double headers to end the groups. We start with Group B over on TalkSport. Adam Bridge and Scott Minto will bring you Switzerland against Canada from Vancouver. And then at 11 o'clock on TalkSport, live from Miami, Natalie Sawyer, Joe Shannon and Mark McGee with Scotland against Brazil. Here on TalkSport 2, Paul Mitchell and Darren Ambrose will bring you Morocco against Haiti. And then into the early hours of tomorrow morning, the end of Group A, Mexico against the Czech Republic. That's live on TalkSport with Mikey Burrows and Luke Chambers. And Cameron Pope and Alvin Martin here on TalkSport 2 will bring you South Africa against South Korea. Jesus Valenzuela, the referee from Venezuela, meeting two very experienced captains, Hassan Al-Haydos and Edin Dzeko. And Titania Guzman of Nicaragua is the VAR official for this game. And it is a wonderful day once again in Seattle. They really have been blessed with some terrific weather for matches in this stadium. And it's a stadium which is open at both ends, so there is no cover at all for the fans behind either goal. But unlike the England game last night, no need for any waterproofs or anything else to shield themselves from the elements. Just a good hat and some sun cream today. 4 changes for both teams, Tony, coming into this match. And I look at the Bosnia team and I just think they've got more going forward than Qatar. And I know Dzeko is 40 years of age, but he's always been a player that if you give him the service, he will score you goals. And in the game against Switzerland, he got no service.
I'd agree, Nigel. And you know, there's a few things that Bosnia have, and that's the physical presence. They're a very big side. I like Dimirovic. I like him as a number, you know, playing that forward role. And I think Begovic as well as another player that, you know, can cause Qatar problems.
Well, it's Bosnia and Edin Dzeko who will get the game underway here, wearing all blue today with yellow trim. Qatar in white shirts with maroon trim. And this is it. Their World Cup hopes are on the line. Nothing more or nothing less than a win will do for both Bosnia and Qatar to reach the knockout phase of the World Cup for the first time in their histories. And it's Bosnia who get the game underway, defending the goal away to our left in the first half, and they quickly play it forward towards Dzeko, but it's headed away by Isalai on the edge of the Qatari penalty area. And now Dimirovic for Bosnia into the path of Dzeko again, but he tumbles under the challenge, and Qatar will try and bring it forward now on this near side there left. It's a high ball over the top, but it's beyond everybody, and it's gathered up by Nikola Vasili, the Bosnian goalkeeper.
Well, it was nice to see a normal kick-off, Nigel. You know, not booting out play.
They're also underway in Vancouver, where Canada are meeting Switzerland. The winners of the group have a bit of an advantage, it must be said. They would stay in Canada. They'll play in Vancouver on July the 2nd. the runner-up in Group B will play the runner-up in Group A in Los Angeles on June the 28th, 4 days before. So in terms of preparation, a win is everything for both Canada and Switzerland in that game today. The winner of this game, assuming they finish third, would play one of the group winners elsewhere. As Bosnia firing the first shot, it was Demirovic who hit it from the edge of the penalty area, and Mahmoud Abunada made his first save of the day. Now a high cross back in again, and this time it's beyond everybody and out of play.
Well, it's quite clear that we're going to see Bosnia using their ability. Demirovic there having a chance on his left foot. Keeper Abunada, he done really well, kept it out, was a good height for him, but a good save.
Mahmoud Abunada of Al Rayyan, the Qatari goalkeeper of the season. This only his 9th cap. As Kolasinac comes forward now for Bosnia down their left. This cross in towards the near post is blocked, but Sergei Barbarez looks to have sent his team out here with attacking intent, and they're looking to finish things off early on here.
Yeah, so far it's Bosnia all on the front foot, which is good. Can the Qataris certainly get an impact on? They look like they're going to play a team of a counter-attack today.
Alabegovic now, the teenager, comes inside, and it's a good ball as well. Sunic hits it, and it's turned aside for a corner kick by Abunada, and it's another good save from the Qatari goalkeeper.
Yeah, Abunada again, second time in a few minutes. As you see the shot come in from Sunic, again a really good height for the keeper to save. The Pateki's probably a little bit disappointed because 2 chances early on for the Bosnians.
And the first corner here for Bosnia, and they've got so much height inside the penalty area. Basic flights it in towards that near post. It's cleared initially, and then the shot towards goal is charged down, but back out towards Basic again now. Down the right-hand side, Basic has got support. And now it's with Bayraktarovic, and Basic with a cross into that near post area. Headed away by Isalai, and then Sunic with a combative aerial duel midway inside the Qatari half, and in the end Lai plays it back to his goalkeeper Abunada, and in the end he hammers the ball away.
I'm laughing, Nigel, because Bosnia didn't attempt anything like this in the first 2 games. They've literally gone out hunting the Qataris down as if to say this is the game we needed to win.
And Qatar have now conceded 60 attempts on their goal during their 2 and a bit games, and 19 of them have been on target, so that's clearly where they've got a problem. But now they win a free kick. Akram Afif has been caught on the halfway line by Ivan Sunic. Afif was the player who scored a hat-trick of penalties when Qatar retained the Asian Cup 12 months after the World Cup, of course, which they hosted. And now Afif plays a good ball forward down the centre, not too far away from Milson Junior, and it's gathered by Vasily, and that is where Qatar could cause problems. They do have players like Afif and Al-Haydos in midfield. They're experienced, they can pick a pass, and with Milson Junior they got pace on the right.
Well, they've got to somehow get into this game. I know it's only less than 5 minutes gone, but clearly we're going to see Bosnia attack after attack.
Bayraktarovic now on this near side, but he's closed down on the Bosnian right by Al-Haydos, the captain, and Julian Lopetegui has been very, very animated. He's finally made it to a World Cup. Of course, he was due to be the Spain coach in 2018, but he was sacked the day before the tournament when it was discovered he was moving on to Real Madrid. Of course, he's been in the Premier League since with both Wolves and West Ham United. Go forward towards the edge of the penalty area by Radilic, the 6'7" central defender who has come into the team today. Ayan Malic also making his first start of the tournament following the red card as a high ball into the penalty area. Goes behind for a goal kick. Of course, 3 players sent off in these 2 teams' last games. For Bosnia, it was Tadic Rahadimovic, who was shown a straight red late in the game, and Asim Madibo and Haman Al-Amin were both red carded for Qatar, and it was Modibo who was involved in that challenge on Ismail Kone, the Canadian midfielder, and he has been wheeled around the pitch in Vancouver with his broken leg before kick-off, but Modibo did visit him in hospital earlier on today to apologise, not for the first time, as Kolasinac on the far side for Bosnia has to hack the ball away. 6 minutes played here on TalkSport 2, World Cup Game Day Live. Bosnia 0, Qatar 0 in Group B. Both these teams realistically are playing for third place, and it's still 0-0 between Switzerland and Canada in Vancouver over on TalkSport.
Just not found their passing range yet, Qatar. Going to have to impose themselves a little bit better so far. Bosnia is certainly the team on the front foot.
And Qatar have picked their all-time record appearance holder Hassan Al-Khaidos today, but they've left out Almoez Ali, who is their record goal scorer, and a player who scored 12 goals in 16 games in qualification, and it was only Erling Haaland who scored more goals in the entirety of the World Cup qualifying across every single confederation. But Qatar have won a corner kick here on this near side, and Afif is the player who has come forward to take it.
Yeah, initially made a great run to win a corner. He loves to seem to drift in the midfield into the deep areas of the opposing's box.
Well, it's Afif who does swing it, but it's very, very deep, way out to the far side, and under pressure in the end, Ahmed Fatih can just hammer the ball straight out of play. We've seen some odd set pieces during this World Cup so far, but I think that's comfortably the worst.
Yeah, high and long, and nearly kicked out a touch on the other side of the pitch. That was all the 60-70 yards, the corner. And a bit wasteful there, and a good opportunity for the Qatars to do a good corner.
8 minutes played on TalkSport 2. Bosnia 0, Qatar 0. 4 changes made for Qatar today, but the 4 players who've come in have got a combined 394 caps between them. So Lopetegui has gone for his most experienced players as Kolasinac plays it down the line on the Bosnian left, looking for Alabegovic, but he's closed down. But they do have a throw-in quickly into the former Birmingham man Sunic. And now Basic, his midfield partner, and Katic, the central defender, now plays it wide to this near side, and Malic. We've not seen the Bosnian back 4 as advanced as this previously in the World Cup so far. They've clearly targeted this game as maybe the one they could win, as it's clipped forward by Sunic towards the edge of the penalty area, but Afif wins it back, and now he's got support from Al-Khaidos on this near side, and he's being clipped. Al-Khaidos claiming there should be a yellow card for Malic, and Jesus Valenzuela will go across and at least have a word.
Yeah, it is a foul. Malic just comes in late, and as he comes in, Aidos goes to the ground. The captain of the Qataris.
Free kick. And Fatih goes back to Lai, and then all the way back to Abu Nada, the goalkeeper. Clears long downfield. And it's quickly returned by Malic, looking for Demirovic, who almost wins it back, but in the end he is penalised for the challenge on Lai. Yeah. It will be a free kick for Qatar.
That free kick on the halfway line was a strange one, because you think they go forward, the Qataris go backwards, and it ends up the goalkeeper gets the ball and ends up booting it long. I didn't quite get that sort of idea of a corner. Or free kick, should I say, on the halfway line.
No goals at the moment, so Canada top of the group on goal difference ahead of Switzerland, and Bosnia and Qatar both have 2 apiece, and realistically that wouldn't be enough. Now Dzeko wants a free kick for handball as he tried to play it into the path of Demirovic on the edge of the Qatari penalty area, but nothing is being given, and Edmilson Jr. will bring it away here for Qatar. And now Fatih Budaif, a high ball over the top, looking for Edmilson Jr., but he's offside, and he needed to look along the line there because he had plenty of green grass in behind him.
Yeah, Edmilson Good opportunity. This is a replay, just seeing of a handball. Well, it hit him on the arm. It was certainly a chance for a free kick on Koki. Just stuck his arm out. Referee wave play on.
Qatar suffering the heaviest loss since 2008 against Canada in the previous game. Bosnia try and bring it forward now with Malic on this near side, and he's been caught by El Braka, and it will be a free kick for Bosnia in a very good position, better than a corner down their right.
Great bit of play again. Just seeing, just the steal, and they're a feisty team, the Bosnians. I'll give them that. As Malik went down the right, got a great reward just outside on the right hand side, 3 or 4 yards on the edge of the 18-yard box, but outright on the right.
Well, they are a strange team. They draw a lot of games, only 1 loss in 10, but no wins in 7. And that really tells you that usually it's a draw. Free kick here, high into the penalty area towards the far post. Not be clear though, unchallenged. Sunic though wins it back, plays it wide to the far side, and in the end Qatar will clear. And there's a break over the halfway line here, and it's flicked into the path of the thief, and the thief may have the pace to get beyond Sunic, and Sunic does well to get a foot in, plays it back to his goalkeeper Vasily, who of course couldn't use his hands, and did well to readjust his feet and hammer the ball away.
Yeah, it was a little ping pong there, and ends up Sunic, who gets the ball in the middle of the pitch as Fatih was running. He just manages not to clip Afif. As Afif ran forward, he took a good touch, but what a touch also just after from Sunic.
I think Sunic was wary there that if he caught Afif, he was walking, and he pulled out to the initial challenge and then just did enough to come back. Edmilson Junior is down on the halfway line for Qatar. I think he was challenged by Sunic initially. In fact, it was Basic who rather leapt into him as they both challenged for a header on halfway. But Qatar had the opportunity initially to play the ball away, but they were a bit unlucky because the initial forward ball struck one of their own players and then bounced back towards their own penalty area. But it's a throw in here, which Afif will throw in towards the edge of the box, and then he plays it in low towards that near post, but Zheko is there to clear. And now there's a chase downfield by that Talovic, but the back pass is strong from Al Braka towards Abu Nada. And now the challenge from Demirovic on him. Qatar do well to work their way out of trouble. It was Budaif in midfield, and now it's played wide by Gaber to Edmilson Junior, who was still struggling with the abdominal injury he picked up a few moments ago. 14 minutes played. 0-0 here in Seattle, 0-0 in Vancouver as well over on TalkSport. So at the moment, 2 points would theoretically put both of these teams in the mix. Well, it would put Bosnia because they're finished above Qatar, but I'm not sure that will be enough by the end. And later on, of course, over on TalkSport, Scotland against Brazil, 11 o'clock kickoff. And if Scotland lose that game and finish on 3 points and there's a winner here, then of course either of these teams could move above Scotland in the race for third place, or third place qualification.
Yeah, Katic done a great challenge there, cleared it. A lot of strong players physically in the Bosnian team.
Well, came through the playoffs, of course, and they were behind in both of their games against Wales and Italy, and then 1 penalty shootout. So they've got character and they've got steel. Qatar themselves also had to come through an extra round of qualification, as Bosnia had heavy weather over clearance here, but they're helped out by Yasin Gaber's challenge on the far side on Alabegovic, and it will be a free kick because Qatar finished below Uzbekistan and Iran in the second round of the Asian qualification, and then they were in a 3-team group to try and qualify. The UAE were not happy because Qatar, their big rivals, were given the hosting rights, and Qatar beat them 2-1 in the decisive game to go through at their expense. Alabegovic.
He looks a player, Alabegovic. He really looks good technically. He wants the ball. Got a great engine. Playing out on the left-hand side for Bosnia.
Well, he was sold by Leverkusen to Salzburg, but he did so well there that Leverkusen have triggered his release clause and are buying him back. Now Sunic. More towards the edge of the penalty area, and Bayraktalovic. They've got two very talented young players in the wide areas today. Sunic again. And a good turn from Basic, and he hits it left-footed, and it's not too far over the top. There was some dip on that in the end from Basic, and I thought it was sailing comfortably over, but Abinada had to be watchful in the end.
Yeah, Sunic played the ball inside, and as it come to Basic, he got his head up, just hits it too high. The goalkeeper scrambling in the goal for the Qatarians.
Straight out of play on the far side as Qatar clears. 17 minutes played, 0-0, and at the moment this would not be enough realistically for either side. There's got to be a winner here for one of these sides, and if there is, they will probably go through. Probably in third place, and that could mean a game against Germany in Foxborough on the 29th, or possibly the United States in San Francisco on July the 1st, but they would worry about that at the end of this game. Malic down the line for Bayraktalovic, and a good ball back inside to Basic. Basic hits it low, left-footed, it takes a deflection, and it will spin behind for a corner.
Basic, he does love to get it on his left foot. He just turns his body, opens his body up to get a shot. That's the second one he's had in the last few minutes, Basic.
Basic yet to score an international goal. This is 20th appearance for Bosnia today, but he's had their two efforts so far. And Basic will now curl in this corner kick on the near side. High towards the 6-yard area, but a good leap from Isalai to clear away. Bayraktalovic now heading back to the halfway line. Lopetegui is urging his players to push out. Helped out by the ball back to Vasily, the Bosnian goalkeeper. He then goes long downfield over the head of Demirovic and all the way through to Abinada. The bulk of this Qatari team do play in the Qatari Stars League. And those of us who were in Qatar for the World Cup 3.5 years ago, we visited a number of the stadiums which were used as training grounds for a number of the teams competing. Of course, it was a very different World Cup to this one, virtually played in one city, whereas this one seems to be played around half the world at times.
Yeah, it was enjoyable though, Qatar, I must admit.
It was certainly different, and being able to take a driverless metro train back to wherever you wanted to within 20 minutes from every ground seemingly was certainly a bonus, certainly compared to what the fans in the United States are sometimes having to contend with.
Yeah, a little bit spoiled on that trip, weren't we? I would think, Nigel. But this is turning into a really decent World Cup for me. Seeing lots of goal scorers. There's been some, surprises from countries like Curacao, Cape Verde. We've seen some really good things as well, which has been great.
Well, some of those newcomers still have a great chance of qualifying for the next round. And if any of them do, then that really justifies the expansion of the competition, as Basic, midway inside the Qatari half, clips it wide to Alabegovic. Down the left, he's got Kolasinac on the overlap, but a good challenge on the far side from Pedro Miguel. But here is Alabegovic again, looking for Kolasinac, but again there was some good covering on the far side from Edmilson Jr. Bosnia will try and bring it forward now with Bayraktalovic. He claims he was fouled midway inside the Qatari half, but the referee's allowing a lot to go so far, including that challenge. But here is Jeka, infield to Basic, and now back to Sunic, who is the deeper of the central midfielders for Bosnia, with 20 minutes played, 0-0. Cross into the penalty area is cleared initially, but now Basic will try and work the 1-2 with Demirovic, and Basic was taken out there on the edge of the penalty area by Yasin Gaber, and it's a free kick here for Bosnia, 20 yards out, dead centre.
Yeah, good little bit of interchange play there from Basic, again feeding it in, just feeds it into Demirovic, and he gets the return, and then comes a challenge which takes him out, was from Gaber, but it's a foul and it's a definite free kick, and it's in a great position. Well, a few yards outside the 18 box, right on the just about a yard from the D.
21 and a half minutes played. Alabegovic and Basic are over this, and you would imagine it's Basic with the left foot.
Yeah, well, look, it's in a great position. I'm not quite sure. I think there's 2 or 3 protagonists to be ready to take this. Alabegovic is there with his right foot.
The Bosnian fans expectant here. They've been one of the set-piece teams so far at this World Cup, and this is a great chance to open the scoring in a must-win game. Alabegovic, Katic and Basic are the 3 players over this. Alabegovic curls it, but the wall leaps, and one of the Qatari players took it full in the face, and there'll be a delay for a head injury, and Alabegovic, head in hands, knows he didn't quite get the elevation.
No, he didn't. He had his head in his hands afterwards because he knew it was close. Qatari player takes it literally right on the face, the top of the head. It's a bit of a stunner. I think we're going into the water break now,
yeah,
Nigel.
It was Kuki who was caught, and that is the cue for the hydration break here. 0-0 midway through the first half in Group B of the World Cup on TalkSport 2. Still 0-0 as well in Vancouver between Switzerland and Canada. Coming up following this game at 11 o'clock on TalkSport, Scotland against Brazil with Natalie Sawyer, Joe Shannon and Mark McGee. Here on TalkSport 2, Paul Mitchell and Darren Ambrose will bring you Morocco against Haiti, and we'll be having a chat with Paul at half-time in this game. And then 2 a.m. tomorrow morning, Ben Fletcher will bring you both games on TalkSport. Mikey Burrows and Luke Chambers will bring you the Czech Republic against Mexico from Guadalajara, and South Africa also meeting South Korea. Cameron Pope and Alvin Martin will bring you that game. Of course, Mexico have already gone through, and the Czech Republic really need to beat them to have any chance. They're in a similar position to both Bosnia and Qatar here. And then tomorrow night we'll see Germany once again on TalkSport with Adrian Durham, Jim Proudfoot and Stuart Pearce. They beat Ecuador at 9. Curacao Ivory Coast is here on TalkSport 2. And then Tunisia against the Netherlands is the midnight game on TalkSport 2 into Friday morning. Over on TalkSport it is Japan against Sweden. And then at 3 o'clock on Friday morning, Paraguay against Australia. That's the big game from the USA's group. That's live on TalkSport. The USA, of course, already through. Turkey already out. And that game will be on TalkSport 2. England next in action, of course. 10 o'clock on Saturday night against Panama. And Adrian, Jim and Stuart will be leading our team covering that game. And, of course, England still have work to do after what happened last night.
Yes, I still feel that, okay, England didn't play particularly well against Ghana, frustrated all evening. I think it was a good argument to say, Nigel, that maybe you could have put Ivan Toney. I thought that was one of the reasons why he took along to the tournament, and say, let's go last 25, 30 minutes, we'll go a little bit different, get it up to Ivan Toney, bypass the midfield. I thought that was going to be the option. Didn't happen, but I still think the final game against Panama, England will win and they'll win the group.
Yeah, it's tournament football. 7 points from 9 and you go through, and it's not unlike England to throw in a dodgy 0-0 draw in the group stage of World Cups.
No, I think they'll be comfortable, but there'll be a few eyebrows raised about their performance.
And the failure for Ghana to get a penalty later.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Consul was a little bit lucky on that one.
Well, both teams move on, and of course Ghana with 4 points are another team that looks set for the knockout phase. As we're back underway here, and it's been Bosnia asking most of the questions so far. As Radilic plays it wide to the left-hand side of the penalty area. Alabegovic has got support from Kolasinac for Bosnia. Kolasinac's cross is blocked, but now Alabegovic again. He's a tricky player, and he's beyond the first challenge, but not the second, that he was fouled there by Edmilson Jr. on the left corner of the penalty area, and it will be a free kick here for Bosnia in a dangerous area once again.
Yeah, I think it's just Gabor who just catches, for me, the player that's really turned it on tonight, Alabegovic.
Absolutely. I mean, he looks to be the player who's possibly got the X factor for Bosnia in this game. And they're a team that are pretty functional at times, but they need a bit of stardust today, and the two players who could provide it, Bayraktanovic and Alabegovic, are both over the free kick here on the far side, the left. Bayraktanovic high to the far post and headed wide in the end, and Katic is claiming a corner kick should have been given.
Yeah, I actually thought when I first saw the header, Katic, he headed it out for a goal kick. You'd think that, Bosnia would have a big advantage, Nigel, considering the size of all their defenders and people like Žeko up front as well. Demirovic, they're a big side.
Well, they brought in Radilic today. He's 6'7". They've not started Jovo Lukic, who, of course, scored their goal against Canada. He's 6'6". We did see him briefly towards the end of the Switzerland game when it was really lost. But he is the player they could throw on maybe in the final 15 minutes or so if they do need a goal or just want to be very direct. Malic now for Bosnia. Of course, they come from that Balkan tradition of technical teams, and they've had some very good technical players in the past. Miralem Pjanic, who played in the last World Cup, or the last World Cup they played in 2014. Safet Susic, their coach, was also a great player for Yugoslavia. And a great dribble now on the edge of the penalty area. Oh, what a brilliant goal from Alabegovic! That is outstanding. And the 18-year-old has scored the goal which may send Bosnia through for the first time in their history. Amazing dribble up towards the edge of the penalty area, and then dynamite in his right boot as it whistled past Abu Nada to make it Bosnia 1, Qatar 0.
Well, Alabegovic there, he started on the left-hand side when he received the ball, and he cut across the 18-yard box, jinking one way, always trying to get it on his right foot, not his most natural foot, and then he hits it, and he lets it go, and I've got to say, Abu Nada couldn't do anything about it. It was in the back of the net before he knew it. A great little touch, takes it in the inside, cuts across the back four, and hits it really well. Not much, I think, the keeper can do. Abu Nada just didn't think, maybe he got a slight infection, Nigel. Not sure, but it was a great goal.
Well, that's what he's capable of. And it was a really good hit. But it was a shot that came after a fantastic run right across the face of the penalty area. He led the Qatari defence a merry dance there, and then he fired the goal in that Bosnia were looking for.
Yeah, great strike. He literally put his laces through it as he saw the chance. The wide of the goals, the post, and just crept it inside the goalkeeper's left-hand post. Really good effort, and he's been the bright spark without a doubt. We mentioned him a good few times out on the left for Bosnia.
Well, that puts Bosnia onto 4 points with a -2 goal difference. They can't overtake Switzerland whatever happens, because of course Switzerland beat them. And the head-to-head record taking preeminence here, the only team they could go above is Canada, and it's 0-0 at the moment. And Alabegovic just limping slightly in the aftermath of that goal, but that's a moment he'll remember for a long, long time.
Yeah, and it really has put the cat amongst the pigeons in this game now. I think the Qataris are going to have to be, Lopetegui's going to have to be more aggressive, and certainly coming into half time and into the second half, how does he find a route to goal? Because Qataris haven't really, it's not any player that looks like he can get a goal. A Beef maybe in the central position up front, not the biggest, but the more likely to get in behind this Bosnian defence.
Well, Bosnia have had 6 shots so far. All of them have been outside the penalty area, including that goal from Alabegovic.
Oh, they're really going after Qatar. They're really going after Bosnia.
Well, even if Switzerland lose, they can't catch them on the head-to-head. So at the moment, Canada are going through and would have the advantage of group winners of staying in Canada, and also a number of days rest on Switzerland, who will finish second. But Bosnia at the moment are looking to move into third, and with 4 points they would be very difficult to shake off in terms of the other teams vying in similar positions elsewhere in the competition. And of course you must include Scotland in that, who currently have 3 points. Now a low ball into the Qatari penalty area, hit as far as Basic, who curls it, and I think it took a deflection on the way through as it looped up over the top, and it will be a Bosnian corner. 32 minutes played here, they lead 1-0 and they are right on top.
As it was again, Malik on the right hand side, feeds it into Basic, gets it on his left foot numerous times in this first 30 odd minutes of this game. That's an effort, gets deflected for a corner, so that's where we are, Bosnia, and again in a really good position.
Corner kick here for Bosnia from Basic into the near post, and it flicks off a Qatari head high into the air, and in the end it's nodded over the top by Katic. As things stand at the moment, and of course there is a long way to go in the group stage, Bosnia would play the United States in Los Angeles, a 1 a.m. start UK time, on the 2nd of July, so late in the evening of the 1st of July. And we're watching on the monitor the goal from Alabegovic again. It really travelled, that is, as well. He didn't just pass it into the net, he lasted it.
Well, the outfield players really seem to enjoy the fizzing the ball, don't they?
Oh, here's Dzeko now with the ball in, which is deflected in for an own goal. 2-0 to Bosnia, and they're surely on their way through now. Dzeko guiding the ball back into the penalty area, and Sultan El-Brake, the unlucky man to deflect it past Mahmoud Abunada. But Bosnia have taken a firm grip on this game, and a firm grip on third place in Group B. Bosnia 2, Qatar 0.
Well, I don't know if he's going to get this goal or not, Dzeko. He put the ball back in, but gets a deflection that beats the keeper. Hoping for a replay here, just to, there was a big deflection by Sultan.
Sultan El-Brake's own goal, I think.
Yeah. But again, it was Alabegovic on the left-hand side who started it off on Kolasinac. Kolasinac pings a real long ball deep. Yeah, it's going to be an own goal because it wasn't actually on target. But Dzeko gets a wicked deflection. And there we go. It goes 2-0 to Bosnia.
2 goals in 5 minutes for Bosnia, and they look to be on their way through here with 4 points. They would be very difficult to shift, and crucially as well, Tony, they're eating into that negative goal difference following that defeat against Switzerland, now down to -1.
Yeah, and I think the big deflection was off Al-Braka.
Yeah, the 10th own goal so far in this World Cup.
Wow.
Bosnia have scored 2 of them. Alabegovic scoring his 2nd international goal. He scored on his debut back in September, but it's a challenge now on the edge of the Bosnian penalty area involving Basic. He's the player who's been fouled by Alheidos, and there are words from the referee but no cards.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the pass into Basic, and Alheidos comes in behind. It is a foul, but could have easily robbed him of the ball as well. So Lopetegui's giving loads of instruction. He's literally running up and down the touchline, hoping to try and turn this game around. You know, he knows this game's running away from Qatar.
Well, he's signed a contract, Lopetegui, until the Asian Cup, which takes place in Saudi Arabia in the early part of next year. Whereas Malic, who's got forward a lot down the right-hand side with another very energetic run, but in the end he just runs out of room, and Qatar have a throw-in by the corner flag. You can hear the Bosnian voices in Seattle at the moment because their team are 2-0 up, and they are heading through. If you look at the current ranking of third-place teams, they are top of it with 4 points. Of course, every team beneath them has got a game to play, but I don't think all of them are going to win their final game necessarily. So Bosnia looking very good here, and I think teams will be going through in second with 4 points as well, so they'll believe that justice will be done. Demirovic with an elusive run right down the centre. He's got support from Alabegovic, and he fizzes the cross into the side netting in the end, and Bosnia are all over Qatar here on the counter-attack.
Yeah, again, swarming through forward. Bosnia, I'm not sure, that's definitely not offside, but anyway, as it came to Kolasinac, he pinged it into the side netting.
Still 0-0 between Switzerland and Canada in Vancouver. So if it stays like that, Canada would win the group, Switzerland second, Bosnia third.
Well, I would say, you know, Canada beat Qatar 6-0 at the very start, and this game looks like they're going to get more and more chances, Bosnia.
Well, Canada have missed some big chances to put themselves ahead, but here's another opportunity for Bosnia, and it's Dzeko who hits it, the inside of the post. Dzeko so close to another World Cup goal there, but Dzeko gathers again, cuts inside. He's got support from Basic, who pokes it through the penalty area, and it's gone behind, and that was almost Edin Dzeko's big moment.
It was, and Edin Dzeko, he makes a great little run. He keeps himself, you know, for a 40-year-old, he keeps himself in an onside position, and he gets it on his left foot, and he hits it really well. He just hits the inside of the post. I think he thinks it's in the back of the net. Luckily for Qatar, it's hit the post and bounced back out.
Well, Edin Dzeko looking to join Roger Miller and, of course, Cristiano Ronaldo now as players who've scored World Cup goals in their 40s, and he won't come much closer than that. He created the own goal, and he's hit the inside of the post there, but this is real trouble for Qatar because they can't get out at all.
No, and look, I said a few minutes ago, this game can run away from Qatar because Bosnia are getting chance after chance now.
Dzeko scored against Iran in the previous win at a World Cup, the only previous win for Bosnia, when they won 3-1 when they were already out in 2014. As a cross into the penalty area here from Albrake for Qatar is deflected away, and there was an opportunity there for Qatar to come back into the game.
That's going to be a yellow card, surely.
Yeah, there's a challenge by Alheidos on Alabegovic. It was Albrake with the cross in, which took a big deflection. It was Alheidos who had a swing at it as well on the volley, but failed to make contact.
Yeah, that was a swing as well. He's literally put all of his effort into it, misses the ball completely. Alheidos.
Well, it's going to be a great night of World Cup football with Scotland-Brazil to come at 11 o'clock on TalkSport. Morocco-Haiti here on TalkSport 2, and then the conclusion of Group A, Mexico's group, at 2 a.m. South Africa, South Korea here on TalkSport 2, with the Czech Republic, Mexico on TalkSport. 3 groups decided, and by the end of the evening we'll possibly have a better idea of where Scotland stand in terms of qualification. Of course, if they win or draw, we'll certainly know because they'll be through, but if they lose to Brazil, then they'll be sitting and waiting and hoping. But Bosnia at the moment are taking care of the situation themselves, as Sunic plays the ball forward, but it's quickly cut out by Budaif. Now Nielsen Jr. moving over to the left-hand side, and he finds Afif. Afif, though, under pressure from Kolasinac. Afif wants a free kick, but the referee says play on. And now Ahmed Fatih on to Pedro Miguel, the Belgian-born right-back for Qatar. Afif with the cross into the area, flicked on by Nielsen Jr. And he wasn't too far away from Al Haydos again, and now Al Brake with the cross into the near post. That's cleared as far as Ahmed Fatih. A goal back for Qatar before half-time, and this game is not over. 41 minutes played on TalkSport 2. It is Bosnia 2, Qatar 0. We'll be hearing from Steve Clarke during half-time. And now ball played wide towards the far side. It's deflected. Nielsen Jr. plays it in, and Qatar do have a goal back. And it's the captain, the veteran, Hassan Al Haydos, who makes it 2-1 and delights the Qatari fans in Seattle. And Bosnia was sound asleep there defensively. And Al Haydos, who has been playing for Qatar for years and years, now has a World Cup goal.
Well, they got a little bit sloppy here, Bosnia. You know, they weren't in any trouble at all in this game. And the ball down the side, it gets played in, and Afif plays it across, and El Haydos scores with a simple tap in with his right foot, keeps it. Well, what a great return of something you mentioned, Nigel, just before half-time, trying to get something out of the game, and a right foot finish by El Haydos. Well, that's a big one for the Qataris. They've never been in this game, as in looking like scoring, have they?
No, but it's 2-1 now, and Bosnia will be edgy now. 2 minutes before half-time. Qatar scoring with their first attempt on goal. And it's their veteran and the record appearance holder who has now scored in a World Cup, as Kolasinac comes forward now on the far side, challenged though by Pedro Miguel, and it will be a corner for Bosnia, and Lopetegui now has something positive to focus on during half-time, and I'm sure Sergei Barbares will be absolutely furious.
Yeah, he will be. He wanted his team at the start of the game to be aggressive on the front foot, and they've done all of that, Bosnia. But the 5 minutes before half-time, they've just got a little bit sloppy, a little bit complacent, and he ends up getting the Qataris a goal.
Alabegovic, you can hear him throw away the pitch microphone as the corner into the near post was hit low, and in the end it was cleared away by Isalai. Sunic losing out in the air, and now Ahmed Fatih works it wide to Nielsen Jr. and he's got away from Katic now. No real support in the centre, he may have to go alone. Ahmed Fatih is wide on the left, and it's back to Afif, and now Karim Budaif, and the shot is hammered towards goal from Sultan Al Brake, looking to score at both ends, but it bobbles wide. Well, it's not been dull.
No, and I've just seen an effort there from Kuki, too far out really. It's hit about 15 yards wide of the goal, never troubling the keeper, Kuki for Qatar, and he's all of 35-40 yards out.
Still 0-0 in Vancouver. All the goals in Group B here this evening so far. Bosnia 2, Qatar 1. And both of these teams have shown defensively in this game why they've had issues. And Bosnia were hanging on for a long time against Canada. We're into 5 added minutes, and it starts with Nielsen Jr. coming forward. And I think if that game had gone on for another 5 minutes, Canada would have won it. Nielsen Jr. now swings in across, but Nikola Vasilic is able to claim.
Well, again, a real surprise towards the end of this first half. Out of the blue.
It really was. Qatar scoring. And that's the first goal that they've scored at this World Cup, because of course Switzerland scored the goal for them. And it's only the second they've managed in their World Cup history. Mohamed Muntari, who was on the bench scored their only goal 4 years ago when they were the host nation, and they lost all 3 games. Played forward by Bosnia, wide towards this near side. It's overhit by Radilic, and it will be a throw-in for Qatar, who are looking the better team at the moment.
Yeah, Radilic is, in the left-back position. He crosses it all the way across the pitch, a long diagonal, but kicks out of play.
Bosnian fans who were in great voice a few minutes ago are silenced now, with Qatar coming forward again, looking to equalise before half-time in a match in which they could have been swept aside. Bosnia have had 9 shots in the game, 3 on target. Qatar have had 2 attempts and of course 1 on target. They've had 2 touches inside the Bosnian penalty area. They were the pass for the goal and the goal itself. That's how they played against Switzerland. They had so little of the ball. When they got the goal right at the end, of course, if it's a draw here today, that doesn't suit anyone. Alheidos now, though, in towards Afif, and that's a good ball. Wide to the far side. Here's a chance, and Qatar have hit the post this time. It was a really good move. Here is Afif, cutting inside again onto the left foot, and now Alheidos wide to the far side, and this time the shot is lashed over the top by Pedro Miguel, but seconds before he was inches away from equalising, but he struck the post.
What a great bit of play. Gets fed out to Pedro Miguel. He hits it first time with his right foot. He thinks it's in the back of the net, a bit like Dzeko's effort, and it hits the post and goes out wide. But a great strike. He'll be so disappointed. He's hit the post there, Pedro Miguel.
Well, it's a hot day, and Bosnia look like they've tired in this first half. And let's be honest, a lot of these Qatari players will be used to playing in the heat because they do all the time.
Yeah, well, I mean, 35, 40 minutes gone, you really couldn't see Qatar getting back into this match, and really they should be going into the break 2-2, Nigel.
Well, they could have been 4-0 down.
Yeah.
But again, that's tournament football, you've got to take your chances. But Bosnia, who could have been 3-0 up when Dzeko hit the inside of the post, almost saw Qatar pull level when Pedro Miguel did the same. Katic brings it back to Vasily, and now Katic again. Malic, the right back, goes long looking for Demirovic, but it's all the way through to Lai, and here is Kuki, and it's flipped wide by Gaber, but straight out of play, and that will be some relief for Bosnia because they get the ball back and they've not seen too much of it recently.
Yeah. Gaber, a bit wasteful there. Yeah, trying to play a blind pass, ends up giving away possession.
Qatar had such a bad night against Canada for so many reasons. 21% possession, 2 shots, none on target. And Canada had 97 touches inside their penalty area. But they've come back here and they've shown some character from 2-0 down. And they've got another chance here because Bosnia have melted away in midfield. Afif, midway inside the Bosnian half, and a good ball wide to Edmilson Junior. He's got space on the overlap for Albrake, and the cross in is headed away at the far post by Katic. Now Edmilson Junior once again finding Afif. Afif chopping back onto his left foot. The cross is deep towards the far post. It's cleared away as far as Pedro Miguel. And that's half-time, and that whistle will come as some relief. More than one change. Ivan Sunic is going off, and the other player who is going to be replaced is Arjen Malic, and Benjamin Tahirovic will come on. He will play in midfield, the player replaced for Bromby in Sweden, and Swedish born as well. He's had a decent World Cup so far, so he will come on along with Amar Memic, who plays for Plzeňa. And there's also a change for Qatar as well, and it's Yassim Gaber who has gone off for them. And we'll get confirmation of who has come on for him in a few moments' time as the second half gets underway. Qatar trailing by 2-1, but they were the team in the ascendancy as we headed towards half-time. They were 2 goals down. Dzeko hit the inside of the post, and then Qatar scored and they hit the inside of the post.
Yeah.
And it's a huge 45 minutes for both teams coming up here. If there's a winner, the reality is they will go through as the third place team in this group, Group B. A draw does nobody any favours, apart from maybe the likes of Scotland elsewhere in this World Cup.
Well, I can't see there not being goals in this second half. From what we witnessed in the first, there was a lot of chances, more so for Bosnia.
Well, Switzerland have taken the lead at the start of the second half in Vancouver, so they've suddenly taken control of the top of the table right at the start of the second half there. Ramon Vargas, one of the players who came on to turn the game against Bosnia here, has come on, or certainly started the second half and scored. So Switzerland leading Canada by 1-0, and that changes the situation because Switzerland go top of the group and Canada could now be facing a runner-up game against one of the big hitters potentially.
Well, Nigel, the other man that came on in the game, the Switzerland won 4-1 against Bosnia, was...
There's a cross into the penalty area for Kolasinac.
Sorry, yeah.
And that's gathered by the goalkeeper.
Mazambi got the assist as well. He was the other player that came on. Looks a real danger.
Yeah, Mazambi has made the goal for Vargas, and it's Switzerland who lead by 1-0. So that changes the situation in the group as well, because Switzerland now go on top. Canada are second, level on points with Bosnia, but Canada have a +5 goal difference, Bosnia -2, so it would need a few Swiss goals and a few Bosnian goals to actually move Bosnia above Canada on goal difference. That's the only way they can go above them. But the runner-up will meet the runner-up in Group A in Los Angeles, so it could be a tricky one as well. And it would also mean that Canada would lose their home advantage and they could face maybe South Korea or possibly the Czech Republic. We'll see what happens in the early hours of tomorrow morning in Group A. At the moment, Bosnia could be facing the United States in the round of 32, and I don't think they'd mind that because they've done well as the away team in the World Cup qualification so far. Now it's played all the way back to the goalkeeper Abinada for Qatar, and it's Abdulaziz Hatim who has come on as the replacement at half-time. And he is a player who will just try and stiffen their midfield, plays for Al Rayyan, well over 100 caps. And I think they possibly felt that they were being overrun for much of that first half, although it's significant that Bosnia have changed up their midfield as well, because they were certainly overrun towards the end of the opening 45 minutes.
Yeah, they were. And that's why I think the manager made a couple of big calls.
Bosnia's goal difference is 7 worse than Canada's, as we said, so I think basically they need to concentrate on just winning this game. Alibegovic with an interesting ball in, just after away from Dzeko, and it's gathered by Abinada.
Yeah, just a little bit too more curve on the ball there, but a good idea.
Switzerland scoring 39 seconds into the second half in Vancouver. But Qatar can break here with Atif down the centre. He's got support from the player who's just come on, Hatim. Atif again, they rather made heavy weather of that, but now it's played forward by Miguel high into the area where it's headed away by Katic, and Demirovic just miscontrols in the centre circle, and the opportunity for a break has gone for Bosnia. 4 minutes into the second half, Bosnia 2, Qatar 1 here on TalkSport 2, World Cup Game Day Live in Group B, and at the moment Bosnia are really hanging on, and the switch that Qatar made midway through the game to put Edmilson Jr. over on the left-hand side really changed the game for them.
Certainly did. And I'm quite impressed with the way the Qataris have started this second half. Again, you know, they look like they want to try and get a goal as quick as they can. There's a lot more movement. They seem to have that hunger in their belly to try and get something. They're not out of this World Cup yet.
Well, the reality is they need 2 goals. They've got to win this game. As Bosnia come forward here, down this near side there left, wearing all blue. A high ball towards Demirovic, who nods it down looking for Dzeko, and the ball just bounces away from the veteran. And maybe Demirovic should have gone for goal there.
Yeah, Demirovic there, as a long diagonal gets played in. Demirovic is definitely onside, and so Dzeko just runs away from him. Edin Dzeko, good header. Well, I say good header, it's just a little bit out. The goalkeeper is scrambling, but Edin Dzeko can't get on the end of it. Head in his hands there, Demirovic.
Now to Hirovic, he's been held by Hatim, and he gets the free kick. 15 yards inside the Qatari half on this near side, the Bosnian left. A reminder of the teams again, Bosnia with Vasily in goal. And they've now got Memic, Katic, Radilic and Kolasinac, the back 4. By that Tarovic, Basic, Tahirovic and Alibegovic in midfield, Demirovic and Dzeko in their attack. Qatar, Abu Nada in goal, Pedro Miguel, Kuki, Isalai and Albraka, the back 4. Yassim Gaber has now made way for Abdulaziz Hatim, Ahmed Fatih and Karim Budaif in midfield, with Edmilson Jr., Akram Afif and Hassan Al-Khaidos in their attack. Both teams making changes at half-time. And both teams defensively have already shown in this World Cup that if they try to shut up shop here, it won't work. Budaif flips it all the way back to Albraka. High and long for Qatar, because Bosnia do play quite a high defensive line and there's not a huge amount of pace in there, so if Afif or Edmilson Jr. can get on the ball in those sorts of areas, they could do some damage.
Well, I'm looking at Afif. He plays in the centre forward role. It looks more like a midfielder, neat and tidy footballer, but he's given that role up front, and when it does come to him, he immediately turns into a really tricky technical striker. He does it really well. Kolasinac just getting his boot out, and Pedro Miguel gets caught. He's rolling around.
And it's a free kick for Qatar. In fact, the throw-in's been given in the end to Bosnia, so consultation with the match officials. We have Venezuelan referee here today. If you weren't with us in the first half on TalkSport 2, tremendous goal from Alibegovic to give Bosnia the lead, and then Dzeko teeing up an own goal to make it 2-0. Dzeko hit the inside of the post when he could have made it 3, but then Hassan Al-Khaidos, the captain of Qatar, pulled one back just before half-time, and then Pedro Miguel, after a really good move for Qatar, hit the inside of the post. Qatar, the reigning Asian champions, won the last 2. Coming forward here, but it was allowed to run to Pedro Miguel in the penalty area, and Kolasinac did just enough in the end to guide it back to Vasily.
Well, we'll see who's down, but I think it's going to be the captain, Al-Khaidos. Looks like he's got caught. Lopetegui saw him waving his arms to try and get the attention of the substitutes.
Haydos has got a problem here.
Yeah.
Scored his 40th goal on the occasion of his 190th cap in the first half. And there's going to be a change here for Qatar. Ahmed Al-Ghaini will be coming on. He plays on the left, plays for Al-Gharafa in the Qatari Stars League. Al-Sad, who are Al-Haydos' team, are the reigning champions. Roberto Mancini led them to the title, but he's since moved on. And Al-Haydos is coming off here, and he's picked up an injury, and he looks devastated.
Yeah, he's putting a real shift. The captain of Qatar, Al-Haydos, limping off, but it's been replaced by Al-Ghaini, much younger player physically. We've just seen a replay of the goal.
Yeah, I wonder if he was caught in scoring the goal by Sunic.
Yeah, Al-Haydos, yeah. That's solid performance by him.
Now to Hirovic for Bosnia. They've not really got started in the second half. 10 minutes played. Bosnia 2, Qatar 1. At the moment, Bosnia have the result they need to finish in third place and be strongly placed to be one of the third place teams heading into the knockout phase. Dzeko now clips it wide to this near side, and it's kept alive by Alabegovic. Oh, lovely footwork from him again, and the cross high into the area over the head of Dzeko, and Qatar will clear the ball away at the far post.
Well, piece of wonderful skill there by Alabegovic. You know, he's been he stood out today.
Kolasinac is now being caught by
Al-Ghaini.
Yeah.
It's only just come up, Nigel. They've got to be careful of the red card, Qatar. They really have. Because if they go hunting the Bosnia team down with a reckless challenge, they could easily get.
Well, Switzerland have doubled their lead against Canada. And it's Manzambi who scored again, the player who came on and scored twice off the bench in the previous game. As Afif comes forward now for Qatar, and he puts it into the side netting. It was a great chance, 8 yards out, left-hand side, and he blazed it just off target. But Qatar again finding room in behind.
Well, Afif, what a great opportunity. Gets played into Dzeko, the ball's gets robbed straight away, gets spun out to the left. Kolasinac slips Afif down the side, hits him with his left foot, first time, just hits the side netting. Good chance though for Qatar.
So Switzerland 2 up. Canada's goal difference is being eaten into, but I don't think enough for Bosnia at the moment. They're level on points, but there's a 6-goal difference between the two, as Alabegovic claims he was fouled there by Al-Ghaini. And it remains 2-1, 12 minutes into the second half here. So Switzerland at the moment will win the group with 7 points. Canada in second on 4 points ahead of Bosnia on goal difference, and Qatar bottom on 1 point. But if they can score, they would maybe well drag Bosnia with them to the early flight home.
Well, Bosnia haven't got going at all in this second half for me.
But here is Tahirovic in towards Dzeko, just driven wide. He's got Alabegovic in support. Alabegovic now heading towards the byline, but there's no one in the centre. But he's got time to control here. Lofts a high ball in over the head of Demirovic. It's cleared away as far as Tahirovic. And now Alabegovic was looking for the ball wide, but Basic doesn't find it. Al-Ghaini unable to control, but now Kolasinac on the overlap. Deep into the penalty area, pulls it back. They're all trying to tee up Dzeko here, but maybe there are players in better areas. Al-Ghaini does well to ride a challenge and now play it inside. And there's an opportunity for Qatar to try and break it. So all the drama so far in the second half in Group B has been in Vancouver. All the drama in the first half was here. But Qatar coming forward again here with Hatim. Afif now back towards Hatim again. And now Afif cut Cutting inside onto the left foot, he hits it high and too high over the top. Goal kick to Bosnia, but they're hanging on once again with nearly an hour played.
Well, good play there by a team. For Qatar, slips it back to Afif. He tries a little lob type of pass before he ends up having a shot that ends up going miles over the bar. But he's wanted a lot of the ball, Afif. He really has. He's worked his socks off. Never really made the game to keep and make a save.
Well, he was the player of the year in the Qatari Stars League. 15 goals and 12 assists for the champions, Malcini's Al Sadd. And he's shown flashes of that here.
Well, in the Qatari goal, Vasily has not really had to produce any saves, Nigel, has he? Relatively, no big saves.
An hour played, Bosnia 2, Qatar 1, here on TalkSport 2.
For Bosnia, I meant Vasily.
Switzerland 2, Canada 0. In Vancouver, as Bosnia have given the ball away again.
Yeah, done a lot of that.
Hatim. And now it's spread wide by Pedro Miguel towards the left-hand side. And a break into the penalty area, a low ball into the 6-yard box. And it's hammered away by Radilic. But controlled neatly on the far side once again by El Ghanehi. And the cross in is headed behind. It was Hatim who was challenged by Katic inside the area.
Well, there's a few Bosnian players whose legs are really struggling.
Well, they've already made 2 changes to try and get legs into the midfield, and they're about to make more here, 2 more here. And we saw Barbanez, the coach, deep in conversation with his backroom team during half-time on the changes they might have to make. Dzeko's remaining on. Hatim now with a high ball forward for Qatar, nodded back across the penalty area, looking for Atif, and 2 Bosnians collide, Katic and the goalkeeper Vasily, and they're both down inside the 6-yard area. No communication there.
Katic just runs into the keeper. The keeper looks fine. Hopefully both of them are. Yeah, Katic has got up. Just colliding into each other. Not sure there was too much shouting. Goalkeeper's ball there, which it was.
Well, we've not seen the medical teams come on too often during this World Cup, but they may need to now because Vasily is down. There's going to be at least one more change here for Bosnia. Looking to shuffle through their defensive resources here. And it's Denis Herzegovina who will be coming on, the Sampdoria defender, although he played at Sampdoria last season on loan from Hamburg, and he's coming on for Katic, who was injured a few moments ago. Herzegovina, another very tall central defender, and Ermin Mamic, who scored that tremendous goal for Bosnia on the volley against Switzerland. He will also be coming on, the Slovan Liberec midfielder. And it will be interesting to see who's going off. Well, it's Dzeko. So no goal here for Dzeko today, and if Bosnia don't qualify, that might be it. That might be the end of a glittering international career.
Yeah.
We'll hope that's not the case, and there's at least one more game. A number of the Bosnian fans have the huge cutouts of Dzeko's face, but Dzeko and Katic, the players who've gone off, and Mamic and Herzegovina are the players who've come on. And at the age of 40, well, Dzeko is furious with something, either the fact he's been taken off or the situation in the game, because he was given a bottle of water and he just thrown it to the ground.
Yeah, obviously frustration there from Dzeko.
Long way to go in this game. 64 minutes played. Bosnia 2, Qatar 1, here on TalkSport 2 World Cup Game Day Live. We've got Morocco against Haiti coming up here at 11 o'clock following this game on how to win the World Cup with Matt Ford. And of course Scotland-Brazil on TalkSport at 11 as the first involvement here for Mamic, and he's won a free kick on the far side. Lunging challenge coming in from Sultan Al-Braka.
Yeah, Mamic just come on straight into the game. Welcome to the match. Nice tackle.
Well, Basic over the free kick. We saw Mamic score with that volley against Switzerland. I think he'll also be on a number of set pieces, and Herzegovina is also forward here, but it's Basic who curls it high. Herzegovina heads it down, appeals for handball inside the area from one or two Bosnian players, but it's cleared away by Isalai, and it's all the way back to Vasily at the other end. And there'll be another hydration break in a couple of minutes' time, and I would imagine that's much needed for Bosnia as it's guided back by Al-Braka towards Abunada, who has had very little to do in the second half, the Qatari goalkeeper. Now Afif for Qatar. Good ball down the line, left-hand side for Edmilson Junior. He's taking on Memic. Edmilson Junior twisting and turning, and in the end Memic gets the challenge in, and Bayraktalovic will try and bring it clear. He tries to win a throw-in, but in the end Afif has it for Qatar, and his cross is cleared away. Ahmed Fatih at the heart of the Qatari midfield now. Pedro Miguel back to Fatih again. Qatar, when they get the ball down, they can play some constructive football, and Afif will allow this ball to run, and now he gets it back. A burst into the penalty area from him, and a goal kick's been given, and I think in the end a corner kick has been given.
Yeah.
Afif was absolutely convinced it was a corner kick, and I don't think he persuaded the referee, but he got a call from his assistant or the officials watching on the screens, and it clearly took a touch of Herzegovina.
Yeah. Azazovic. Yeah. And that Afif out on the right hand side, going to take corners.
He's looked a really good player in the second half, and he swirls this too high again, but it's volleyed back into the 6-yard box and then sliced up and over the top by Demirovic. Well, Herzegovina is now down inside the penalty area. It was a very, very deep corner all the way through to Hualin Kuki, who did well to direct the volley back into the 6-yard area, and it caused confusion leading to another corner.
Yeah, and it was hit with venom across the face of the goal as well.
Short this time, towards the edge of the penalty area, swept in by Abdulaziz Hatim, but Bosnia will clear, but they can't get out here at all, Bosnia. At the midpoint of the second half, Abunada plays it long and high to this near side, headed in field, and then cushioned header wide to this near side, and the low ball in from Kuki is cleared away by Tahirovic, and I think it's going to be the hydration break. You can hear one or two boos, and I would imagine at this stage they may be coming from the Qatari fans, Tony, because they're on top. They don't need a break here.
No, as the game's going on, and we're now at what, 68 minutes, 20 minutes just over of normal time, and then a bit of injury time. They've been on the ascendancy without a doubt, Qatar, and they're causing the Bosnians a number of problems. That's why we've seen so many substitutions from the Bosnian coach to try and get some more energy and legs in his team, because they really are hanging on today.
A reminder elsewhere in Group B in Vancouver, Switzerland leading Canada by 2-0, so they'll win the group at the moment. and Canada will be ahead of Bosnia on goal difference. The goals they racked up against Qatar really coming into play here, but Bosnia are right on the edge. If they concede, the reality is they're out of the World Cup. If they remain ahead, they will probably go through.
Most certainly so. Just seeing replays of the goals while we're in the half-time, or let's say the half-time drinks break.
Three-quarter time drinks break.
Yeah.
The end of the third quarter, I suppose they'll be calling it soon. Coming up though, 11 o'clock, Scotland-Brazil on TalkSport with Natalie Sawyer, Joe Shannon and Mark McGee. That's on TalkSport. Here on TalkSport 2, Paul Mitchell and Darren Ambrose will bring you Morocco against Haiti, the other game in Group C. Then it's Group A, South Africa against South Korea, here on TalkSport 2 with Cameron Pope and Alvin Martin. And the big game in many ways, certainly for the Czech Republic. They're playing Mexico, and the Czech Republic have simply got to win that game. They're on 1 point. Mikey Burrows and Luke Chambers will bring you that game on TalkSport. And then into tomorrow, 9 p.m. start for Ecuador against Germany on TalkSport. Curacao Ivory Coast is the other game in that group, and then a midnight start for what could be a really good game, Japan against Sweden. Also in that group, Tunisia play the Netherlands. Tunisia are out, the Netherlands are through. And then at 3 a.m. it is the USA group. The USA are through. Of course they play Turkey, who are out. The big game in that group, that's Paraguay against Australia. That will be on TalkSport. The USA game will be on TalkSport 2. And England, of course, next in action on Saturday night, 10 o'clock start, over on TalkSport with Adrian Durham and all of the England team. Following that 0-0 draw against Ghana last night, it's Panama next up, and Ghana playing Croatia, and that game will be on TalkSport 2. And Qatar have made a change during the hydration break, and they brought on their main goal scorer, Almo Azali, plays for Al Dahail, Sudanese born, 12 goals in 16 games in qualification, as a cross into the near post from Pedro Miguel into the side netting. Almo Azali coming on, and could he be the player to spark the revival here that Qatar need? Realistically, they need 2 goals. Well, they are going out. If they score again, they could well take Bosnia with them. There's Demirovic, launches it high into the air on this near side. Afif is now down the centre, and Almo Azali is to his right.
Well, trying caution to the wind.
Yeah, it's Karim Budaif who's gone off, so they've got 3 strikers up front now, with Ed Milson Jr. over on the left as well. But they need 2 goals, so why not with 18 minutes to play?
Yeah.
And if Bosnia don't go through from here, having been 2 up and been so much on top in the first half, I think it will take them a long time to get over that.
Yeah, they don't feel like they're even close to the team in the second half as they were in the first. You know, certainly Al Begovic certainly caused a lot of problems to the Qatari back line. Hasn't quite had the same effect in his second half. Still done well, but he was superb in the first.
Promise David has come on and scored with his first touch for Canada. They're back in the game, trailing Switzerland 2-1. As Demirovic comes forward now for Bosnia, down the left-hand side, cuts into the penalty area. 3 waiting for it, and Demirovic waits and waits and waits too long, and in the end, the challenge comes in, and Demirovic looks absolutely shattered.
Oh, hands on his knees, literally bent over Demirovic. They're the number 10 for Bosnia. You know, he just looked like he's out, and this is one of the problems you're seeing. A European team that's really finding it difficult. Watch how much of this game has taken out of them.
Alabegovic going all the way back to the halfway line. And Hadzi Kadunic And Basic, who was running the game himself in the opening half hour or so, but he's found it difficult in the heat.
Yeah.
And it's a very hot day, and there is very little shade in this stadium, Lumen Field in Seattle. And they're virtually under a roof in Vancouver, so very different circumstances there. But Bosnia here are maybe wilting in the sunshine.
Yeah, they've certainly found the conditions really hard to deal with.
15 minutes to play on TalkSport 2. Bosnia 2, Qatar 1. Both teams have got to win this game to go through. It would take an extraordinary sequence of results elsewhere for a team with 4 points not to make the third place finishers in the round of 32, as an opportunity now for Mamic, who comes in field towards the edge of the penalty area, and he strikes it too high over the top, and it will be a goal kick. In fact, it was back by Raktarovic who had the shot.
Yeah, I'm watching a beat for Qatar, who's waving his arms around. He's upset and he's stopped running. He's got to carry on putting in a shift, because they need him, Qatar. They need him up there, up front. That's the position he's played. But he's sort of arguing with a couple of players because they've not passed him the ball he wanted.
Well, there's plenty of tension around Seattle now. Both sets of supporters know what's at stake here. And Bosnia just trying to take the sting out of the game, but they've not done that successfully throughout the whole of the second half. And another long ball played forward for Qatar here, but the challenge made by Edmilson Jr.
Yeah, Edmilson Jr. hasn't really had the effect. He's carried on running all afternoon. He's kept it going, pushing, just not had the quality on the end of his efforts.
And now a break made by Kolasinac down the left-hand side on towards Demirovic, who tried to play the ball back in field first time, but now the flag's gone up for offside as it strikes Misalai and goes out of play for, well, a free kick for Qatar in the end. And Lopetegui, the much more animated coach at the moment, he knows his team are on top here, but he knows they need 2 goals with 13 minutes to play. But at this stage, in the previous game, Bosnia were 0-0 and they ended up losing 4-1.
Yeah. Well, they've certainly had the more energy, Qatar, in this second half. They've just got to find that big chance, that moment where someone could deliver.
It's brought down by Kolasinac, well in the midfield, wide to Alabegovic for Bosnia, clipped over the top. Demirovic though losing out in the air, but here is Alabegovic again. He's continued to be a box of tricks for Bosnia. He jinks inside and he's been caught there, and it's going to be a yellow card for Ahmed Fatih. I think he was just beaten by the sleight of hand or sleight of boot from Alabegovic. First yellow card of the day.
Yeah, Al Fatih, it's a little bit innocuous for me. Maybe a slight nick from Al Fatih, very little.
Well, there's going to be another Qatari change anyway, as they look to try and get back into this game. In fact, there's going to be 2 changes. Ahmed Maledin is coming on for Edmilson Jr. And Ahmed Fatih, having been booked, is also going off, and Mohamed Manai will come on to replace him. So they're changing things up in the midfield. Ali Aydin, Egyptian born, another very experienced player coming into this team. And Manai, less so, one of the youngsters, as Bayraktarovic comes forward now for Bosnia. Cuts inside from the right. Bayraktarovic still going, and the shot beaten away by Abanada. and that was the opportunity for Bosnia to seal it.
Well, he come on as a substitute, Manic, and he cuts in on his left foot, keeps going a bit like Begovic in the first half from his right, hits it, pings it with his left foot, and the keeper punches clear, and then the dart just to keep it a 2-1.
Begovic will take the corner for Bosnia. Scotland's team is in for the Brazil game at 11 o'clock. They're starting with Lawrence Shankland in attack, but Ben Gannon-Doak does start as well in midfield. Begovic with a short corner, and now Basic on this near side. He curls in the shot into a crowd of players. It nearly breaks for Demirovic, and now fired across the 6-yard area. Appeals for handball, and it nearly breaks, and then the shot deflected in, and Bosnia have done it. And it's Ermin Manic who has stepped off the bench to finish off the mother of all goalmouth scrambles, and Bosnia lead by 3 goals to 1, and for the first time in their footballing history they are going to qualify for the knockout phase of the World Cup. What a day for them in Seattle.
Well, what a scramble it really was. It just was pinging around the 18-yard box, and all of a sudden it broke clear. Mamic just came onto it, swept it. He's actually done really well since he come on as a substitute. There was a shot that went in, it all the battling for the ball, pinged across the 18-yard box, and there it is. Well, I'm not sure about what the keeper's doing. I'm not sure. We're seeing maybe a referee view here.
I think it may have been a penalty had it not gone in, because I think there was a handball in there, and then the shot, well, it took a big deflection, and Abanada was wrong-footed by that. And Ermin Mamic, who came on and scored his first international goal against Switzerland, has now scored in back-to-back games, the Slovan Liberec midfielder, and that for Bosnia is absolutely huge.
Yeah, and to be fair, Nigel, since he's come on, hasn't he, he's really looked a light wire. So fair play to the coach, bringing on a much younger lad, Mamic, just to add that dynamism, and that's what he's given. Even in this 20-minute period, he really has given that extra bit of running power in the Bosnian team.
Well, he's got a yellow card as well because he took his shirt off in the aftermath of that. But this has been the group of subs. How many goals have been scored by players coming off the bench?
Yeah. Manic. Oh, well, good luck to him. I thought he really stood out as someone who came on.
Well, Begovic has now gone off, and the player who has come on is Dennis Bernic. He plays in the German second division for Karlsruhe. He was a German under-21 international, and Bernic, it's fair to say, is a much more defensive-minded player than Begovic. So it's all about sorting things out now for Bosnia and getting through to the end of this game. 7 minutes to play. Bosnia 3, Qatar 1. And Bosnia scoring with their best opportunity, first real opportunity in the second half.
Yeah, and it was really looking that Qatar could get an equaliser. They were committing bodies. Bosnian players were literally going down all over the pitch, physically drained. But all the substitutions that came on for Bosnia have made a hell of a difference.
Still 2-1 to Switzerland against Canada in Vancouver, so Switzerland will win the group if it stays like that, but the Canadian equaliser will put them on top, and Bosnia remain 6 goals behind Canada, and they would need something akin to what Switzerland did against them to really try and put the pressure on, and I don't think they will, but I think they know 4 points with a -1 goal difference at the moment. They would be incredibly unlucky not to be one of the 8 best third place teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's given a little breathing space for Bosnia. That good 2-goal cushion now with literally 7 minutes to go, coming up to half time. Sorry, 7 minutes before full time. I'm getting carried away with it.
Yeah, we're coming towards the end of the fourth quarter.
Yes. But this game has been really entertaining, by the way.
And there could be more entertainment here from Bosnia because they're coming forward again. Tahirovic tries to flick the ball on to Demirovic inside the area, but Qatar will clear. And at the moment, it could be Bosnia against the USA in the early hours of next Thursday morning in Los Angeles. So they'll be staying on the west coast at least if that happens.
Yeah.
Of course, this group being sorted out in the Pacific Northwest with Vancouver just over the border, the venue for the Switzerland-Canada game, as the free kick's been given to Qatar here in a good area. And it's Herzegovina who is the player who has committed the foul. And Afif will play this ball in.
Well, he's done some really different set pieces, Afif. The Qatari little he's played in the forward position all afternoon, but he's been on every set piece, Afif.
And he's on this one as well with 4.5 minutes to play. Afif plays it out to the edge of the penalty area and it's fired up and over the crossbar. It was the right sort of idea, but Al Ghanaihi got right underneath it.
Al Ghanaihi, I think he skied it over the bar. Really got to keep it down there. It's a golden opportunity.
Yeah, 30 goals have now been scored by players coming off the bench in this World Cup. The highest number was 32 in 2014.
Well, what I would say as well, I think this World Cup has shown that you just need such a huge squad, don't you?
Absolutely.
You know, of all players that could give you something a bit more.
Here is Mamic coming forward again now, down the right. And Qatar having to do a bit of chasing now because Bosnia know they've got the goals they need. It's been a rocky ride for them in the second half. Radilic goes all the way back to Vaseli. Vaseli gives him a horrible ball back and Radilic does well to play that forward under pressure. Now it's Burnic. He's given the ball away and Afif can now move forward for Qatar. And it's a good ball down the centre and it was pulled back inside by Almowiz Ali. And you wonder why their hot shot in qualifying just didn't hit it.
Yeah, it was a really good opportunity. Just, the referee's seen something. And again, I'm watching Kolasinac. He's really out on his feet.
Yeah, there's a problem here for Radilic. He was caught on this near side as he tried to deal with a ball towards him, but it was Almowiz who had that opportunity. With Radilic playing everybody onside, injured on this near side, and he tried to pull it back in field when really he should have looked to go for goal. He did have support from Kuki in field, but at this stage of the game with just over 2 minutes to go, he just had to hit it. So break in play, the way things are shaping up, this game is going to finish after the Canadian one, which is already into added time. Switzerland still leading 2-1. But we are in the 89th minute here with Bosnia leading Qatar 3-1. They have seized the moment in the second half.
Well, this group has really produced a good number of goals, hasn't it? You think of, Canada getting 6, you've had Switzerland getting 4 against Bosnia, 3-1 here. There's some goals in this tournament, in this group.
Yeah, as we said, so many of them have come off the bench. Carl Loud in the opening game. Of course, we saw the Swiss score all of their goals off the bench, 3 in total.
The players
Bosnia.
The players won't be happy, Nigel. Their manager's going to keep making substitutions.
Yes.
There's going to be a lot of them, that's for sure.
Well, Bosnia's two most recent goals have come from the same player. Ermin Mamic, who's come off the bench. Now Afif for Qatar down the left, curling in the cross, but it's headed away. It'll be recovered on this near side by Al-Ghanehi, and then lofted high by Pedro Miguel. And there is still time for Qatar to make life very tricky for Bosnia, because I would imagine there'll be plenty of added time here. No team has come from 2 goals down to not be beaten so far in this World Cup, and that's what Canada and Qatar are looking to do here. Qatar dominating possession in the closing stages, and we go into a minimum of 6 more minutes. Afif, if Qatar can score now, it could be very twitchy for Bosnia, but they've given the ball away. Demirovic plays it forward to Tahirovic, just needed one more pass there, and Memic would have been away down the right hand side, but Qatar recover.
Again, Demirovic, he's got a chance to just play it first time and just get some forward away, because it's really, they are just looking so tired, and yet they're 3-1 up, Bosnia.
Afif on this near side now, plays it wide to the right, and Al-Ghanehi, Pedro Miguel, high hanging ball towards the far post, and it's headed behind, and it will be a corner kick. And Sultan Al-Baraka, the left back, is now playing as a left winger on the far side, and he's forced the corner. And the Bosnian bench all sat in the shade, all looking pensive. This game is not quite over yet. Corner is very deep towards Afif, and he'll gather it here on the right hand side, jinking towards the byline, but in the end Bosnia are able to dig themselves out of trouble. Bernic made the first challenge, and then it's hammered away by Radilic. Do you think they're not looking to put corners inside the area because Bosnia was so big in the air?
Well, they've got so many big players, Bosnia. You know, there's definitely an advantage, and I think they've just got to be trying to be a little bit more shrewd, because I'm watching Afif, who's really, you know, he's the playmaker for Qatar, but he's switched off a few times when, you know, been a bit less today, scoring his passing, and you can see he's a gifted lad.
We have 4 minutes of added time to play. Bosnia 3, Qatar 1. And the Qatari fans now contemplating the journey home for those who have made the trip from the Middle East for this tournament. They've seen their team pick up their first ever World Cup point, and maybe could have had another one here today, but Bosnia stood firm in the second half. They've got their third goal.
He's putting a shift for Qatar as well. Pedro Miguel.
Yeah, he's the player who hit the post in the first half when it was.
Yeah, Miguel is really worked his socks off.
And here he is again on this near side, playing a very tight back three now, Qatar, as they try and get players forward. The Bosnian fans already beginning to celebrate, but here is Pedro Miguel, and he hits this from 35 yards, and it was tipped over the top by Nikola Vasily.
Well, I can't believe that Pedro Miguel has got the absolute energy to it, this like he just did. He pinged it, and I thought for the life of me it was going in. It just swerved just as it gets it,
and the corner's played into the area, and it's headed down by Pedro Miguel, but into the arms of Vasily, and the final chance for Qatar may have gone.
Yeah, Vasily would be delighted. Just pump it back down the field.
Switzerland have beaten Canada by 2-1, so a first defeat for one of the co-hosts, but they are going through in second place on goal difference ahead of Bosnia. So Canada will be playing the runners-up in Group A, and they will be playing relatively quickly, because they'll be playing in Los Angeles on June the 28th, and the group winners will play in Vancouver on July the 2nd, so there's a big advantage for Switzerland in winning that game.
Yeah.
75 seconds of added time to play here.
Well, summing it up really, Nigel, I think it's been a really entertaining game. Can't fault on both sides the effort by both sides, how they've just given everything. Bosnia have just had a bit more, but there's been periods where Qatar really looked like they were going to get back in the game.
Well, as it stands, Bosnia will move up to the top of the group of sides, hoping to be the 8 top third-place teams, and the Czech Republic will drop out. And the reality is they will need to win against Mexico in a few hours' time, and that really will be an away game. Mexico in Guadalajara, to have the opportunity to get themselves above the safety line in terms of third place finishes. Of course, we'll see what South Korea do as well against South Africa. As a high ball is flicked into the penalty area for Qatar there, and it was close to Almawaz Ali, but it's gathered by Nikola Vasilic, and that may be the final act of the game. And the Bosnian fans know what this means, because Bosnia can celebrate. They've beaten Qatar